Hey there, and welcome to Story Demon. I am David Seahope. We have had a little bit of a brief intermission in our video series, but we are back now, ready to take on the world. I was working on the hard edit for my first novel, and that took a lot of time, and I really needed to focus on that. But here we are. Here we are. So, Story Demon is about how you craft your story. I'm not telling you how to write a novel. I'm not telling you how to write a screenplay. I'm telling you how to do a story. Okay. And stories have basic elements. And if you stick to the basic elements, you generally are going to have a good story. And if you stray from them, there's a good chance you won't succeed as well. So today's topic is protagonist, the hero, the good guy. And what I'm going to talk about today is not gender based. So this doesn't matter if it's male, female, whatever. This is just a universal application to your protagonist. I believe you should beat the living shit out of your protagonist. Throughout the movie, the person who gets their ass kicked the most should not be the bad guy. It should be the good guy. Why is Rocky an endearing character? Because he gets the shit kicked out of him. In the first movie, he knows he's not good enough to take on the champ. He trains, and he's beaten down by no money and all these different things. Or he's got, he barely afford his apartment, and his trainer at first doesn't believe in him, and all these things are against him. And then he goes, fights the fight, and he goes the distance. And then subsequent movies, he's always finds himself as an underdog. Well, you keep going back for more because you want to see. You relate. Most of us don't go through life thinking that we are invincible. In fact, we're very much the opposite. We feel like, oh my God, there's always one thing and then another. So what we want to see somebody overcome the obstacles. And so when you're crafting your hero and you're crafting your story, you need to avoid the Superman syndrome. Not so much the newer Supermans of the last 10 years or so. Talk about the old school Superman, where you're too perfect, where it's you're too unbeatable. Other than one weakness, sometimes gets exploited, but in the Superman stories. But other than that, he's pretty much invincible. Hot breath, cold breath, laser eyes, bullets bounce off, and turns the world around. And he's too much. He's too much. So in my opinion, he's not as interesting a superhero as some of the others because of this. Iron Man and the Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man, to me, is a lot more interesting because he is very well. He's got ego issues. He's got selfishness issues. He's cocky. He doesn't humble himself when he should. He acts out of emotions a lot of the times, even though he's like really smart. And then the very first one, he's kept alive by the thinnest of margins to make a robo suit out of what he has to work with to try and get out of get away from his captors. So you want to craft your protagonist in such a way to get the shit kicked out of him. One example to make my case is Steven Seagal. Now, not the Steven Seagal of the day. Go back to the 80s and 90s. 80s and 90s, Steven Seagal, his first few movies, he would take the bad guy out too quickly. It was like boom, and they were dead. Now, in real life, was Steven Seagal that badass? I mean, maybe he was. I know there's a lot of stories about how awesome he was. So maybe he was in real life that badass, but it doesn't really work in a movie. You need conflict. It needs to be prolonged, a protracted conflict. So he makes a movie called Under Siege. Well, why? That was a big hit. I think Under Siege was probably his biggest money-making hit. And he worked with Tommy Lee Jones and the guy who made The Fugitive. That he directed that movie and had a really good cast. And it was really well made. It was, I think he got some technical Oscar nominations and things. So it was a really good movie. It was a Steven Seagal movie, but it was a really good movie. And why was it a good movie? Well, he got his ass kicked. That's the one movie where Steven Seagal got his ass kicked. It makes the most money. and it's the most has the most longevity of all his movies. He gets his ass kicked. I mean, he gets shot. He's not invincible. It's challenging. He gets, like I said, he gets wounded at one point in the movie, and the girl has to fix him up, and it's not easy for him to beat the bad guys. He does it, and at the end of the story, he wins. But I mean, it's challenging to get there. Rocky is an endearing character because of the challenge. So you have to create a character that's challenged. I say beat the shit out of, in order to, even or if it's a drama emotionally, then emotionally beat the shit out of them. It doesn't have to be literal. But if you want to have your audience identify, you don't identify via success. You identify via confrontation, challenges, conflict. That's what identifies the character to the audience. So you have to really focus on that. So even with your like I said, gender doesn't matter. Look at Terminator 1 and 2. I mean, it's hard for Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton to get away. It's a struggle for that character to get away from the Terminator. She barely makes it. She has to go on the run. She's lost all of her resources. And the second one, at the end of the movie, when she's getting the shit kicked out of her, and the Terminator just keeps coming, and she can't get over. And the famous scene where she's got the shotgun, boom, 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 boom. Then she runs out of shells. She had one more shell. She would, shoot him into the lava pit or whatever. But she didn't. So it's just challenge after challenge after challenge. It wasn't easy for Sarah Connor to beat Terminator 1 or Terminator 2. It's like the last minute that able to beat them. So the conflict is what creates endearment. Alien, you go with all of them. Go down the list. Aliens. Ripley, it's a struggle. She doesn't perfectly fight it. Indiana Jones, great example. Indiana Jones gets his ass handed to him the entire movies. In General, maybe, I don't know. Crystal Skull is need to put that one aside. But the classic trilogy of Indiana Jones, he only outlasts, or by some sort of last minute happenstance overcomes bad guys. That he shoots the one guy, he gets the drop on the one guy and shoots him, and then the bullet goes through 3 Nazis. That's and even looks at the gun oh well, that's it. Wasn't like he was so skilled to do that. He just sort of lucked out to do that, dumb luck. Look, this famous fight under the flying wing. After they've come out of that tomb in Raiders of the Lost Ark, that guy's beating the shit out of him, and he's not going to win. It's only because the prop comes behind the guy, and the guy's too obsessed with beating Jones, he doesn't see it, that that guy gets whacked. So Indiana Jones is not this superhero that just never never has a challenge. It's not easy for him. John McClane and the good Die Hards. Die Hard 1, he gets the fuck beat out of him. Bleeding everywhere, got no shoes, feet cut up, whatever. I think you're following my point. You do not be afraid to beat the living shit out of your protagonist. One thing you might be worried about is in the movie world with screenplays and talking with actors, sometimes they don't want to be portrayed that way. They want to be, Mr. Strongman hero or whatever and stuff. The smart ones don't do that. You can tell the smart actors from the dumb actors. The ones who don't mind getting their ass kicked, being that person that's not unbeatable. I mean, people like him more. I mean, frankly, Steven Seagal, great example. He's vulnerable, makes his most money. He's made for DVD joke now. So you see what I'm saying? Sometimes ego with actors get in the way. Stallone is a great example of a person that put it aside. And look, 2 Oscar nominations and bazillion dollars money. So it really, everybody benefits. The reader, the viewer benefits. They identify. The actor in a movie, they become more endearing as an actor with the audience. They just perform better. That's what you want. If you decide to take your hero into unbeatable mode, you're more than likely you're going to fail. It's just simple as that. The Disney Star Wars movies, Rey doesn't really get her ass kicked. Well, that's why that's one of the central reasons why the Disney trilogy does not work, because Rey doesn't get her ass kicked. Rey should have her ass handed to her. I mean, I understand she's so powerful with the Force that innately she has these skills. They could have done that and still beat her ass and made it more believable and more daring. You don't have any emotional attachment to Rey. I mean, most people don't. I mean, if you have emotional attachment to Rey, I don't know how you got there. But one of the problems with Rey is she's just. I'm not a Mary Sue guy. These people say, well, I'm not that guy that is like, oh, they're Mary Sue. I don't identify female characters as Mary Sue. That is not me. My novel I'm working on is the central protagonist is a woman, and everything I'm telling you is true in it. I love female heroes. When I play video games, I'm usually make my character the chick. All right. I love Sarah Connor. I love Ripley. So this is not gender. Okay. This is all of them. Rey is not compelling. She's not endearing because other than getting off a desert planet, what challenge does she really face? I mean, really, it's just all kind of comes easy. I mean, she's even portrayed as smarter than Luke in a lot of ways, It's just, that's the reason it fails. That's the reason it fails on that level. It fails on that level for that reason. Conversely, Han Solo. Why is Han Solo such a beloved character? He gets his ass kicked. He's not invincible. He does stupid stuff. His mouth overloads his ass. It's just, those are the better characters. They always are. And if you have that character be that way, then your chance of success just goes up. So even on a smaller scale, we're not talking about tentpole franchise movies or epic type size stories. Like what my book is, it's a very big story, but this applies on a smaller scale level. Why does the tearjerker work? Why does the little heartwarming movie work? Well, because the character is challenged emotionally, is beat to shit, and then in the end overcomes. And even if it's a sad ending, it usually involves some sort of overcoming. You have to really, really stop and take a look at your hero, wherever you are in your story building process or writing process, and say, is this challenging enough? I'm telling you, success is crucial to this. The things that make money, the things that people buy the toys of and all that kind of stuff, are the things that are beloved and you connect with. You can go down the list of all these beloved characters, think about the ones that are the most successful and then last with you the longest. They frankly get their ass kicked until the very end. If you want those type of reactions to your story, that's what you have to do. This is crucial. This is it's like if it played sports, it would be like undefeated. I can't think of a perfect hero that is beloved other than the weird 50s, 40s Superman stuff. But even people laugh at that now, so I don't even know if that's beloved. Just if you want to be successful, don't be afraid to kick your protagonist's ass.